Good afternoon. Welcome to the Embedded Executive Podcast. My name is Rich Nass. I am with Open Systems Media, more specifically with Embedded Computing Design. And this week, my guest is Paul Golden, who is the marketing director for the Wireless Power Consortium. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing well, Rich.
Good. Um, the, the biggest reason that I wanted to bring you on is that for whatever reason, I'm not familiar with the Wireless Power Consortium, which shame on me, I guess, because you have been around for a while. What is it that you guys do? Just give me a little bit of
So,
the background.
sure. So, Wireless Power Consortium, which I'll shorten just by saying WPC. It's a lot easier to say. WPC is a standards development organization, and we were formed initially in 2008. Our first standard, which was called QI, was spelled QI, was a standard to provide wireless charging capabilities to smartphones. And as a standards development organization, we don't manufacture, sell, market, or any product specifically. Our member companies do that, and we have over 330 member companies throughout the world. What we do is we develop the standards with our members' help. We manage those standards, and then we certify those as well. So we provide the certification testing to make sure that when people use the standards, they're using them as they're specified and are compliant with the standards.
Is the consortium governed by some bigger body, or are you guys making your own standards and saying we're the law here?
The latter is the case. We are a nonprofit, incorporated nonprofit organization. We develop those standards, and we have, since the time when we were initially founded back in 2010, or 2008, I'm sorry. At that time, there were several standards bodies that were all competing to try to become the sole standard for global wireless charging, and WPC ended up kind of being that position.
Okay. Walk through some of the different standards, if you could. Where are we
Sure.
today? And
Sure. So we have right now we have actually two standards. We have the original Cheese standard that I said was launched in 2010. We launched a new generation of that, Qi 2, in 2023 at CES in 2023. And that was a very important change in the standard. And the biggest thing with that you'd recognize would be it included a magnetic attachment, and that borrowed on the technology from Apple and their MagSafe, and that became incorporated into the T2 standard. That magnetic attachment was very important because it did several things. One, it enabled the device to be more efficient. So a lot of us using wireless charging at times, you had to kind of make sure your phone was sitting directly on the charger. If you were a little bit off center and you put your phone away at night and woke up in the morning, you found, whoa, I've only got 15% charge on my phone. What happened? Well, you just missed. With magnetic attachment, that's virtually a perfect attachment there. So there's no lost energy in the product process. It's more efficient and therefore faster from a charging standpoint.
mhm.
G2 also, when we launched that, was 15 watts charging. So it was significantly faster than the original Qi, which launched at only 5 watts. We launched Qi 2 25 watt here in July of 2025. So that's now taken it up another notch to a faster level. And that's what we were just featuring at CES. But in addition to the Qi standard for wireless charging, we have a new standard called KI, that's spelled KI. And this standard works in similar technology as Qi. It's using electromagnetic induction, but the idea here is to take kitchen appliances, any kind of kitchen appliance, small kitchen appliance that you'd plug into your wall, a coffee pot, a toaster, a blender, anything like that, even an air fryer. We've eliminated the need for power cords and eliminated batteries, yet we can deliver up to 2.2 kilowatts of power for those devices. And that was
So
one
you're
of the things
saying
that we
that they would
demonstrated
have
at
this charging
CES.
port embedded into this other device.
So in the case of Key, there would be a transmitter that could either be incorporated into a dual function induction cooktop, where you'd have both induction cooking and
Hmm.
induction cooking with key, or could be mounted underneath a kitchen counter or island. So it's concealed. You don't even see it. You don't see it.
Hmm.
It works right through your kitchen counter material. Or could be in a standalone induction cooktop unit, which are very popular in Europe, I understand. And the receiver is actually built into the bottom of the appliance. And as soon as that receiver is placed on top of the
Okay.
transmitter, they communicate with each other using NFC.
Hmm.
And the transmitter knows, okay, this is something I can send power to, and it will send power based on the exchange and communication between the appliance and the transmitter.
Isn't
Fascinating
the
technology.
It is absolutely. Isn't the automotive space one of the biggest consumers of this technology?
Automotive space is a big area for us. We have a number of members in the automotive space, both on the automotive OEM side and the charging side. Qi 2 is one of the devices that you're going to start seeing more of in automotive. Unfortunately, automotive and the airline industry is the same sort of thing. They have very long development cycles. So even though we
Right.
launched Qi 2 a couple of years ago, you're just now going to start seeing products coming out as they change over their designs and incorporate these new devices. What's so good about Qi 2 in a car is the efficiency, the magnetic attachment. You don't have the phone sliding around on your charger anymore. It's going to be, stick right to that spot.
Yep.
And that 15 watts charging is an important feature as well. We have another version of the standard that's not Qi 2 that we call APP. It's a moving coil where it doesn't use magnetic attachment, but the coil in the charger automatically lines up with the phone perfectly, and if the phone moves, the coil moves with it. So the end result is the same thing: much more efficient charging, faster charging than you've had before.
Are there a lot of people who make the components for these things, or is it a very small handful of folks who make the devices?
There are quite a few different members of the industry. As I said, we have over 330 members of our organization. Some of those are developing end products like chargers or phones. Some of those are just developing components. So it's a big industry.
Okay. What exactly do you guys standardize? I get there's a power level and there's the magnetic bar. What else is in there that needs to be standardized?
Well, there are two things that standards do that are particularly important. One of those is compatibility. So this industry, and today this industry, by the way, we sell, we don't sell, but our members sell over 1 billion devices a year in between chargers and phones. And this industry has been able to grow as it has because the devices are interoperable, they're compatible. So it doesn't matter if I have an Apple phone, I can use one of many different chargers. Or if I have a Samsung phone, I can use one of many different chargers. If you didn't have that interoperability, um, it would have been very difficult for this standard or the industry to grow as fast as it has. So interoperability, compatibility is one of the important things. The other thing is safety. You're talking about electricity.
Hmm.
Even though we're talking about 15 watts, 25 watts, that's not a huge amount of electricity. You want to be sure it's safe. And devices that don't go through, that are not using our standard, or they're using an older version of our standard that's available on the website, but they're not certified, we can't guarantee what they're doing. You don't know necessarily what they're doing, how they've made that product, and there have been issues with that. So that's another piece on this. And particularly when you get to something like Key in the kitchen, where you're delivering up to 2.2 kilowatts of power, safety is absolutely critical.
How does the consumer know that the device that they're buying, say it's a charger, is actually standardized and isn't just some knockoff?
Well, that's a very good question, Rich. So a product that has gone through certification testing for us, one of the things that can be done with that then is they can carry the Chi or the Key logo on their device. So it'll be either on their device, on the packaging when they bought the device, or in the marketing materials for that. We also have a database available to the consumers on our website where if you have a question or you want to be sure that somebody hasn't made a knockoff and illegally used our logo on that, you can go to that database and check that to make sure. And yes, that does happen sometimes where people try to skirt the law a little bit on
I'm
that one.
sure it does.
Yes.
What's next on the list of things to be standardized?
So right now we are still focusing on those two standards, but within the Qi standard, um, we are already working on the next iteration at a higher power level, probably 50 watts, that will be coming out probably 2027. Uh, and then we are also working on a standard specifically for smartwatches. This was a big area. We had a lot of people coming to us at CES asking about smartwatch charging and developing a standard for that. And so we have a number of players that are in that industry here, all very interested in coming up with a standard for that. So those are the two big things for us. And then um, Key just actually launched this last summer. The certification testing was just put in place. The standard was released. So you're not seeing any products in market yet with Key. Usually it's about 18 months from the time a
Mhm.
standard is released and certification and testing is available and the time you start to see products in market.
So I have to ask, what's the story with the names of the standards?
So, Qi, when it was initially launched, Qi is a Chinese word that means life energy. I think there was some thought behind that that probably made sense once you know understand what the word means.
Okay.
And Key, I was not here when that name was developed, so I can't tell you what took place behind the scenes in developing that. But I think they were trying to come up with something that was similar to Chi, and I think somebody said Key, Ki, like it's in kitchen. Let's run with that.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Where can people go to get more information?
Well, they can go to our website, wirelesspowerconsortium.com, or there are for consumers two microsites that would be good for them to go to. One is chargewithqi.com or cookwithkey.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me today, Rich.
That was Paul Golden. He is the marketing director for the Wireless Power Consortium, and I am Rich Nass with Embedded Computing Design.